Northern Innovation Women is a social media campaign which highlights the terrific contributions that are being made right across the north of England by women to innovation, both in businesses, the health service and our universities. It's really vitally important that women celebrate and support each other across the north. Over many decades, we've seen that women consistently earn less than men for doing the same role, and men in fact taking credit for innovations that women have done. Rosalind Franklin, I mean, I know it's a long time ago, but it's a classic example, but it's still going on today. And it's just really important for women to lift each other up. And it's also really motivating to be recognised and supported by your peers. So I think there's the two kind of aspects to it that's really important. The last 15 years, there's been so much work done to remove some of the barriers that women face in the workplace, and in particular in research and innovation. There are lots of barriers, particularly for women who have children or other caring responsibilities. And we see funders and universities being much more alert to some of these barriers and taking positive steps to provide resources and opportunities for women in a way that, you know, really wasn't around 15 years ago. I think employers recognise that if they don't enable women to contribute to the workforce, and in our case we're really talking about innovation, then they're missing out on half the talent, and they can't afford to do that in a really competitive world. They're missing out on loads of great talent, loads of great ideas, and that's something that they recognise they can't afford to do. I mean, I think the women that I really look up to and respect are generally people that I've worked with who do support and mentor other people, women as well as you know, men and students. So I really respect Professor Rachel McKendry at UCL in London. So Rachel leads a big multidisciplinary collaboration. And at one point, she was the only female professor in her department. And she is the only woman to have led what they call an interdisciplinary research centre funded by EPSRC, Engineering Physical Sciences Research Council. And what I really appreciate about Rachel, apart from all of those things, she's a brilliant scientist and kind of trailblazing for women, but she also is incredibly dedicated to making sure that the team she works with is actually high performing as a team, and that the postdoctoral researchers and the students that work with her are really part of that collaboration in a very inclusive way. I always say, like, in my personal life, I always say, like, my role model is my grandmother. She was very proactive in pursuing the things that she wanted to do. So she helped set up an embroiderers guild in Bournemouth, where she lived at the time. But she also made sure that I'm the only female grandchild, but she also made sure that the boys knew how to sew. And she was just one of those people who was a bit of a force of nature. And I definitely feel like she showed me that I could achieve things that I wanted to achieve. I'd like to see, and I can't remember whether she had made the list already or not, but I would really like to see Rachel Dessar, who's at the University of Liverpool, make the list. She is a fantastic researcher in the area of antimicrobial resistance. She's an absolutely excellent role model for women and girls. And again, she's one of those women who really brings on other women around her. What I really would like to see on the list next year is some of the women who are integral to research, but more in some of what are often regarded as support roles, the contribution that they make to research and innovation, both in the North and in the whole of the UK is absolutely essential. So some of our female technicians, for example, right across the N8 who do a magnificent job, people who work in the research offices often are women. Like many of our directors of research and innovation, like Debs McLean at Sheffield, are women, and they perform an absolutely essential role and are often overlooked in terms of, they're not researchers, but they definitely make sure that the environment is one in which researchers can thrive. So I'd like to see some of those people recognised next year. What I'd like to say is that I think for Northern Innovation Women, it's a really important joint campaign between the N8 and the National Health Science Alliance, where we work together right across the whole spectrum of research and innovation in the North, to really make a difference and to champion the fantastic women that work right across all the sectors that we're engaged with, and I think that just really helps to amplify and celebrate women